Hello everyone and welcome to Drivenmad.
Hello, and what are we doing today then, son?
Today we're changing the boost pressure sensor. Now as you know, we've been trying to follow the overboosting issue and change the solenoid on the last video, and it didn't really help, but we did feel a bit of a power increase, didn't we?
Yeah, we don't know, we've had the timing belts done by a real man, Marcio.
We certainly have.
And overall, we've driven it separately, and I drove it down to the coast yesterday, and I just felt it was driving so much better.
Yes, yeah, we didn't mention it to each other, but we both feel like it's got a bit more go, sort of just low down.
Not particularly faster,
no,
it's just
easier.
The hill coming up here, I always have to go to second, and I came up in third, and that's why it mentally sort of clicked with me.
So we think we're getting there, but we're not sure whether it needs a turbo or not, but we're going to go around everything, and then we probably will get the turbo rebuilt at some point.
Well, we are chasing this smoke, because we don't like it. It's been smoking since we got it. Yes. If you've watched, we've done everything. So Marcio suggested that the turbo would be potentially creating that smoke.
Yes.
So we thought, as he's been with us a long time and he's our favourite vehicle, we would treat him to a turbo rebuild.
Yes, so that might be coming down future. We don't know quite when, but it will be coming at some point. Yes. But today, let's get this stripped off.
It's coming because I've agreed to pay for it.
Yeah, exactly right. He's going to pay for it.
So
Happy Christmas to me.
Yeah.
So it's an very early Christmas present for the Murdoch and I. But let's get this stripped apart and get that sensor changed.
Perfect.
Okay, so starting this off, we need to remove the intercooler, which is 4 size 10mm bolts, and then we remove the first of the turbo pressure sensors, which is at the top, and another 10mm bolt. Now next is to remove the 2 pipes off the top of the intercooler. Now they come off really easily just with 2 clamps, and of course let's not forget about the fan plug, which is just hidden at the back of the intercooler itself. And now you can pull that sucker off, and it gives you much more access to the secondary boost sensor. So here I'm just showing all of the vacuum lines that I've put on for my pressure boost gauge on the dashboard. If you want to know anything about that, click on the L200 playlist and you can see how to install the pressure boost gauge. But I'm going to be replacing all of the vacuum lines here with fresh black silicone pipe, so I'll be taking them off one by one and cutting them to the right size and replacing them, just for peace of mind that I know that they're all perfect and new. Okay, so now it's time to undo that boost pressure sensor. So you can see it here, it's the black plug with the red end on, and it's got 2 small bolts holding it in, really easy to undo. And then once it's off, we're going to change that vacuum line for a fresh piece of silicone, and I know that in my head it's all nice and new. Right, now to unplug this little devil was a bit trickier than normal. There's a small metal pin clip that actually holds it in place, and you need a little flathead screwdriver to just go in and pry that up and actually remove it completely, and then the plastic will just come apart nice and easy, ready for the new one. Okay, now I've got the new sensor in my hand. As you can see, it looks exactly the same, slightly shinier, and it doesn't have the Mitsubishi logo on it, but it's exactly the reverse of taking it off. Plug it in and just push that pin through to secure it in place so the plug can't come off. Now one thing I'm finding really satisfying about this job is taking off a vacuum line and cutting it in new black silicone and replacing it. I don't know why, but I get a little, it's like sort of therapeutic. I don't quite know why, but I'm really enjoying it. And here you can see I'm just putting on that new piece of silicone now. Now there's one more vacuum line next to it, so I'm going to take that one off and swap it out for a new piece of hose as well. With the vacuum lines replaced, it's time to snug up the sensor with its 2 little bolts. Make sure, of course, to attach the vacuum line first. Now there's quite a long vacuum line that goes from the top of the engine down into the turbo actuator. As you can see here, I've taken off the other silicone pipe that was on the front of the turbo as I'd cable tied this to it, and I'm replacing that, of course, again with my new black vacuum pipe. And the old one I'd put on, which was clear and not the right type of tubing, had actually cooked in the heat and slightly closed up, so that definitely won't have been helping any of my boost problems. Right, now originally I was going to film this as a 2-part series, as there are 2 boost sensors and one of them hadn't arrived in the post. I was still waiting for it to be delivered, but whilst I was filming changing this first sensor, I actually got the second one in the post, so I thought I'd include that here. It's now the next day because I've got the delivery for the second turbo sensor, and I thought it would be easier to include this in this video than it would be in next week's, because this isn't actually going to take me very long at all. So what we're going to do is just disconnect the battery again and literally just undo this one here and change it for this one. So you see here I got this one, it's nigh on identical. There we are, you can see that's the sensor. Right then, so all we've got to do is transfer the little metal bracket that holds this to the intercooler bracket as well. Right, now normally I just disconnect this size 10 here, which you can see holds the bracket on for the sensor. But in this case, as we're actually taking the sensor off and replacing it, there's another 10mm just behind it, which I don't think's ever been changed, so we'll take that off there. Now we've got to just take this boost pipe off. Right, now we've got this little metal cliplet, you can see, which is an absolute bugger, but it's off. Keep that safe. And then we should just be able to pull the sensor out, like so. Right, there's the little tack. Get a flathead in there and just turn it, and it will pop that metal bracket out, hopefully. There we go. And now that's just got to go in the new one. There. There we are. And now we can put that back in the car. Right, don't be a donut like me. Hop in the car, ready to go for a drive. Start it, no boost, and you realise you didn't actually put the vacuum line on the sensor anyway, so it can't be doing its job. So I've put the sensor back on and I've plumbed it in now. So we'll now go out for a drive and see if it works.
What about here?
It definitely. Right, we're back from our secondary drive after we changed the second boost sensor. Yeah, after his beautiful braking test, which we'll have all seen.
So for that.
Yeah, so we've given Murdoch a little bit of a thrashing the last 2 days on our test runs.
He's still warm now.
We've certainly had him up to temperature, and it's performed really well actually. The only difference I can say is, other than it feels way faster, is that on my boost gauge now it's sort of, you can see it going up in increments rather than it just going all the way up. You can see it figuring it out at what boost to put it. So I do think we fixed it. We've driven it twice now for a while. And
so we think it was.
I think it was that sensor there.
Yeah.
It was either that sensor there or one of the boost lines. But I think it was that sensor. So we're going.
Sorry, we're not specific.
No, we're not specific.
It wasn't that one, though.
It wasn't that one. We've just done that one, and it's exactly the same as it was. But I've changed it for good measure. So 2 new sensors. Change all the vacuum lines that you can around here, and also change that turbo solenoid. If you do it all, you should be pretty well set.
If you've got that problem.
If you've got the same issue. But hopefully you enjoyed this video and it gave you an idea of what you can do to your truck if you've got a similar problem. But please like, comment and subscribe, and we'll catch you next week.
Thanks for watching.